I don't know if you can see with this reflection. See? Yeah. I got them going. I put them in late last night, so today is technically day 1. They're due March 23rd. This control center, the humidity, the hygrometer on here is always read about 8 to 10% low. Ever since I bought it about 7 years ago. After our house fire, I replaced the incubator, the old Hovabator I had with this one. The incubator was sitting out on the table when I had a house fire. But I have this little analog, I don't know if you can see it, the little analog hygrometer in there. That one is the correct reading. That has always been very accurate, that one there. So I go by that one to back check this one. Interestingly enough, it freaked me out. I usually have my little spot check incubator thermometers. These are made for incubating. These are accurate within what do you call it, 1/10 of a degree. They're made for incubating. They read temperature changes as they happen instantly, so they range up and down. They go up and down. And I don't have them in there because the batteries, I have 2 of them. I have actually 2 of them, and the battery is dead. Little battery that goes in there, a little LR44 battery. Has the little probe here that goes up and down in the hole down in here. But the batteries are old and dead, so I had to change the battery. And my husband is going to a funeral of his last living aunt today, so he wasn't going to go. I hope he's going to be okay. It's an hour-and-a-half drive, and then he has to sit, get up and down, and I told him to take his cane. I hope he took his cane. Anyway, he's going to get me batteries on the way out there. And so by the end of the day I'll have batteries. But the reason I needed the batteries to double check this Genesis reading is because this little gem that came with the incubator that I never use, I stuck that sucker in there and it read 107. Now I know that can't even be right because, I mean, this is not an alcohol thermometer. I forgot what that liquid is. It's not a mercury thermometer, it's an alcohol thermometer. I guess it is. That read 107 when this one was reading 99.8. That can't even be because if this was this far off the last time I used it, I think it was last year maybe, I can't remember when I used it last, I wouldn't have had any hatch at all. 107 when I cooked the poor little things. So I'm not really sure. In fact, this right here right now is reading about 88 degrees, and there's no way this is 88 degrees. This room is not that warm. So I think this one is very off. I'd be surprised if this room was over 70 degrees in here. So I had a little glitch. The turner didn't act like it was turning. I finally, hit the motor a few times and it's turning. It doesn't really turn for those who haven't incubated this thing. It just it tilts that way very slowly, and it slowly tilts back over a certain hours period. I can't remember how. Every 4 hours I think it is. I can't remember. But in here now are 13 Brahma eggs and 1 egg from Maddie, Hector's daughter. I don't know if the Brahmas are even fertile. They are turning 5 years old in June. And so is Hector. And fertility could be down some. I think 1 egg in here at least is BJ's, my dark Brahma, and I've never gotten any of her eggs to develop. They are fertilized, but they never develop. So anyway, we're going to see. March 23rd is the date, and I think I'm nuts because I was going to get those chicks at Cahutta Country Store on April 9th, and that's over 2 weeks from their hatch date. And by the time these chicks are 2 weeks old, they're going to be giants compared to Bantam Cochins and little Easter egger babies. But we'll see. I really have these two actually to sell. So as soon as I get them fluffed out and they're here a couple days, I'm going to put an ad up on a page and we'll see. But I want to talk to y'all today about something. Hey guys, we're doing something different today. sort of in one of my seating areas in my living room. It's not too bad cold outside, but it's, I don't know, it's a little breezy, so I thought I would come in here. Hope my non-glare glasses don't glare. Well, it's an incubator. Yeah, I lost my mind, and I'm going to incubate some Brahma eggs, and the problem is they're going to be due over 2 weeks before that shipment comes into the feed store that I wanted. And 2-week-old Brahma chicks are quite a bit larger than Bantam Cochins and Easter eggers that just hatched a few days before. So, well, anyway, we'll figure that out. I do hope to have them sold, though, so most of them will be gone. I wanted to mention to you now, I put it in my community section. You saw Heather, the Needy Homesteader, you saw what happened to her. Unless you've been living under a rock and you've avoided all the homesteaders who've supported her in her hour of need. Hour, it's going to be a long haul, not an hour, but just an expression. But you know, what just happened to our friend Heather, our fellow creator Heather, is something I've been touching on for a while. And you know, I think people have kind of gotten down on me in a way for being negative when I say, what would I do if I'm left alone on this homestead? For being maudlin or not being positive enough. But you know, I think we should all think about this. What happens if our spouse or whoever we're running our homestead with is suddenly gone? And worse, if that is the breadwinner, like it was in Heather's case, and she can't even do her YouTube videos because 2 broken arms. She's in an assisted care facility at the moment. She's going to recover, I'm sure, because she's a strong lady. She might not feel like she's very strong. So any way we can emotionally support her, please do. If you can contribute even $5 to her GoFundMe. It's been wildly successful, but you know, medical bills for her 2 children, the homestead, she has to continue paying her bills, and her son Jake did open the GoFundMe. So I appreciate everybody who contributed to GoFundMe, and I know she does too, and appreciates the prayers and well wishes, and I hope she has a speedy recovery and blasts away all the odds and she's back on her feet soon. Emotionally, it's going to be a little tougher than physically, I do believe, as bad as her physical injuries are. But this is something we should all think about. What happens? Can you manage where you are if your partner in crime, so to speak, is suddenly yanked out of the picture? It's worth thinking about before you have to think about it, because once you're in the middle of it, you're too emotional to really think clearly or make good decisions. That's not the time to make decisions, but it's always good to think, let me imagine a scenario where suddenly I'm alone and I have to manage all of this. So please do think about that. Pinball Preparedness has an excellent channel, and most of my subs probably subscribe to him too. He was talking this morning about, you know, bad behavior, bad decisions really, and talking about the government bailouts and how people say it's not enough, we need more money. Let's spend a couple more billion on these people. And you know, it's the government put you in the position in the first place when they shouldn't have done it that way. They screwed you up and screwed you over. And but you know, it doesn't really matter how it came about. SHTF is SHTF. It doesn't matter how it came about, but it's here. And I've always said it doesn't matter how it happens. it's still the same thing. Food, shelter, water. How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to keep your house warm if it's winter? And and how are you going to manage your livestock? How are you going to manage without electricity if it gets that bad? What are you going to do? And these people there are people who are whining that the government's not doing enough for them. Daddy's not doing enough for them. Sugar daddy apparently is not doing enough for them. And they should get more. Give me another check. Give me more money. And what did they do with the other checks that they got? Did they actually pay their bills? Or did they go put a down payment on a new car? Because people who make bad decisions in life perpetually make bad decisions. And if you give them money to get them out of a hole they're in, guess what they do with it? They make more bad decisions. Throwing money at problems that are intrinsically at their core wrong, that were created by wrong behavior, doesn't help the situation. If you have been with me for years, you know I've said the same thing for years and years and years and years. People will cry that they don't have this and they don't have that, but have they gotten rid of their extraneous habits that they don't need, ones that cost them so much money? Smoking cigarettes cost a ton of money. Killing their health. It's killing the health of them. It's killing their electronics. Seriously. You don't realize that electronics draw the smoke into them, and it will gunk it up and kill your electronics and cause you to spend more money. I remember years ago, many years ago, when we were in the military and coming home to my husband's parents' house, both extreme chain smokers they were, and they got COPD and cancer because of it, but they were complaining that their television had a terrible picture. They had to go get a new television. My husband, the electronic technician, he got paper towels and some Windex, and he cleaned off the screen. It was brown yellow. All that screen had been drawing the cigarette smoke to it. It had gunked up the whole screen. It wasn't. He didn't even get into the electronics of it. It was just the screen itself. It had a coating, a layer of yellow-brown nicotine gunk all over it, and they thought the picture was bad. Once he cleaned it off, wow, crystal clear picture. So people keep their habits, and they're smoking, they're drinking, they're whatever. And then they're buying new cars, they're upgrading to a new $1,000 cell phone on a ridiculously expensive plan that they think they have to have. You can live without a cell phone. People don't want you to do it. They keep saying, well, we need a mobile number. I can't count the number of times my mortgage company wants me to put a mobile number in so they can put their app on my phone. Sorry, I have a desktop computer. They want me to go paperless. A computer, the credit card wants you to go paperless. The mortgage company wants you to go paperless. I'm like, okay, I'm paying off my mortgage as fast as I can, and you're going to keep sending me that paper. I'm not helping you. You're going to send me that paper until I'm done. I don't have a mobile phone that I can guarantee it's going to have the same number next month. So, but you know what mine cost me? Basically $6.70 a month. You know how? $79 track phone. It's a smartphone. It's like the dumbest smartphone ever, but it's got all the junk on it that I don't want. And because of that, I buy a 60-minute card every 3 months. And because it's a smartphone, they triple those, so I get 180 minutes added every 3 months, as long as I add those minutes before it runs out. They roll over minutes, and now I've got about 4,000 minutes and about the same number of texts, and I don't know how much data, because I don't data on a cell phone. It's off in my purse 99% of the time. My husband is going to a funeral today, therefore he has a cell phone because he's on the highway. And he can call me back at home and I can call him. But that averages out. That 60 minutes card cost me $19.95 every 3 months. It averages out to about less than $6.70 a month. You don't need to spend 10 times that, $60 a month, and have a $1,000 cell phone. I don't live my life on a pocket device. You don't have to either. I'm just telling you, if you had plenty of money, you could do anything you want. But if you're trying to save money and you're trying to get yourself out of a hole, there are things you need to give up if you're not independently wealthy. You have to make tough choices. If you're not willing to make tough choices, you're going to stay in your same hole. That's just reality. So if you do all these things and you haven't changed your lifestyle at all, if you're still going to concerts or you're still going to events and you're paying for this and you're paying for that, or you're buying designer clothing, you're not buying the cheapest clothing you can find that actually holds up. I mean, there's cheap and then there's crappy, you know. There's inexpensive and there's cheap crap. There's a difference. But if you're still doing the same things you did before the world fell apart, and you're crying because you don't have any money, your hours were cut back at work or you are laid off, and you crying because you don't have money and you're still doing the same things, it's your fault. You know, I mean, it's tough words, but, you know, don't shoot the messenger. It's just life. It's just reality. So you want the government to reward your bad behavior by sending you more money, and you know where the money comes from? My pocket. It doesn't come from, it's like, it doesn't fall like manna from heaven, people. It doesn't come from the cosmos. It comes from other taxpayers who actually pay their taxes. Imagine that. So, you know, I know it always feels like I'm lecturing you on this, but I say this because I know what it feels like to be debt-free. Other than the small remaining mortgage I am paying off, I know what it feels like not to owe money to 5 different creditors. I also know what it feels like to owe money to 5 different creditors, to owe on 3 credit cards, and owe for a car payment, and owe for a house payment. I know what it feels like, and I don't like it. I haven't had that in so many years now because we started saying no to things. That one little word will get you a different life. Saying no. No, I don't think I'll buy a new television. Or no, I won't get this, 72-inch TV. I'll get a 35-inch. No, I won't go to the movies. I'll just find something to watch on YouTube. Or I will there's some movie sites. You can find movie sites. You can download things for free pretty much. You can Roku it. I mean, you can do something free. You don't have to pay. There are so many things. You can do the track phone with the minutes cards like I do. And if you were paying $60 a month for a plan, now you can pay $6. So make your choices and see your life unfold. See things blossom. See you get out of debt. And after you're out of debt, then see your savings pile up. And of course, right now, your cash is only good for what you can buy with it. I'll get my words in a minute. You can buy with it, such as what I call survival insurance, food, medical supplies. I have 2 250-gallon water totes I got for $75 a piece. I paid the guy $25 to deliver them to me. One of them, they had cooking oil, I think, in them. That's what they had, oil. Now, you got to be careful. You don't get anything that had something like fertilizer or motor oil in it. You need something that had food grade stuff in it. So you wash them out thoroughly, and then you fill them with water. And then one of them is going to go for rainwater collection. I have the screening for it. I just have to wait till it's better weather and go place it close to the barn. That's going to be for my livestock. So I had the screening for that, for water collection. The other one, it's already filled. It already has the bleach in it for treating, and it's for us. It's for our use. We're on a well, therefore the electricity runs a well pump. When there's no electricity, there's no well pump. I did buy the generator. The generator has been working its way from across the country from California for 2 weeks. It's now in Nashville. It's getting here. But it's like they're having to pull it by horse and buggy. I don't know when it's going to get here. And I don't know what, I guess all the weather, the bad weather from between California and here has been the cause of it. But it'll get here. Let's just hope it's not damaged when it gets here and I have to return it. So you really, when you start having more free cash freed up, then you can really get on with your prepping. Now, even when you owe money to people, you still need to do the prepping. You've got to get your food supplies socked in. You know, when the world is so upside down like it is now, and when you've got a world where what was right is now they consider wrong. What is wrong now they think is right. And if you say different, you were shunned, you were attacked, you were censored, and you were canceled. And you basically have to draw back into your own little world and stay away from all that stuff. You know, snow globe effect. You know, put it out there. Take care of business within your own perimeter, people. And then, on top of that, things that you can never anticipate happening. We didn't anticipate the government was going to turn this garbage, this virus garbage, into an opportunity to put the whole country under their thumb, like some totalitarian government, like Castro in Cuba, like Chavez in Venezuela. If you don't know what I know about that, look at my video called Socialism, My Family Story. We couldn't anticipate how that was going to play out. Heather could never have anticipated that a beautiful, fun Valentine's Day outing was going to end with a sudden death of her husband. And herself critically injured, her children injured. She can't even take care of her children. She can't even hold them now. They won't even let her. That is criminal. They won't even let her. She can only look out through a window. They lost their father. They're 8 and 5 and they lost their father, and she can't even hug her own children now because of restrictions. Stupid restrictions. So you don't know what's going to happen from day to day. I always say, you know, people think they have a long time. They think they have tomorrow. You don't know what you have. It could be an accident. I've always said I'm not going to die of cancer. It's just in my gut. I'm just positive that's not going to be the way I go. Now, I've often joked. I said, well, I may choke on a chicken feather. I definitely could fall out here and hit my head on a rock. We got plenty of rocks, and we got plenty of roots to trip me up, and they have in the past. That's how I broke my ankle. Well, actually, how I broke my ankle was snow. We don't know what's going to happen. You remember there have been several actors that I can recall who had a minor head injury. They, like Natasha Richardson, skiing, hit a tree. Brain bleed, dead. Too young to die. I think Sonny Bono, same thing. Skiing, hit a tree, gone. Brandon DeWilde, if you remember the old movies, Brandon DeWilde, young, handsome guy, up and coming star. I think he was on a train and hit his head or something. I can't remember what. But something minor can turn into something major. You just don't have a clue if you're going to have tomorrow. So, that also brings it, you know, my video, the saddest words. Don't say, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. I wish I had held myself back when I wanted to buy that new car. I just regret doing it. I should have driven the same one for a while longer, and then I would have that money now. You know, I drove the same car for 20 years. It was a good vehicle. And after my father died, I had just a very small amount in inheritance. Not, I mean, very small, thanks to Hoochie Mama. But I paid cash for a car to replace that car I'd driven for 20 years And I bought a few years old car, little extra miles on it, and I paid cash for that car. So decisions like that, to keep driving the same vehicle you're driving. My son's car, he bought when he got back from South Korea to live here in the United States again. He had cash to buy a car. Well, he bought a car, and he didn't want to spend more than a certain amount. And he bought this vehicle, and she's been nickel and diming him to death since he got it. A beautiful condition, but you know, it was 10 years old, and it was starting to have little things go wrong. And you know, he said I'd trade it in, except that, you know, I'm not saving as much money as I expected to save, so I don't want to do that now. And I said, well, you know, it does cost less to fix what you've got for a while longer than to buy another one. And so he's being practical, and he's continuing to drive the same vehicle with little nitpicky things going wrong. So, frugal decisions make your life better. Also, if you've been making frugal decisions up until the time that sudden devastation hits, like with our dear sweet Heather, then you're in a better position at that time. But what if you've been making really bad decisions and all of a sudden you lose your breadwinner? Do you see what I mean? That's devastation upon devastation. You might lose your home. I'm working so hard to pay off my mortgage because if something happens to my husband, you know, I can't draw my own Social Security because I only worked like 28 quarters or something. I didn't work enough quarters to draw my own. So all that I paid in is just, you know, they just take it, basically. I know you're supposed to be paying for another generation. I get all that. But I will actually quit drawing the piddly amount I draw, and I will only draw his amount. I did research that. So the amount I'm getting every month is not going to be his plus my little amount. It's just going to be his amount. And I had the same house. I don't want a house payment if that happens. That's why I'm working so feverishly to get this mortgage completely paid off. That still begs the question, can I maintain this property? I don't know. I just don't know. I may not be able to maintain chicken flocks. I may have to call upon some YouTube friends to say, you know, I'm going to have to rehome my flocks. Is anybody in the local area who can give them a good home? I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I know I've been thinking about it. You need to think about it too, because life is not guaranteed, not even the rest of the day. You just don't know what's going to happen. Another example that it upset me because, do you remember the singer Laura Branigan, Gloria? You've heard that at the Trump rallies, I'm sure that he plays that all the time. Must be one of his favorite songs. But Gloria, I love that song. I loved Laura Branigan, and I had remembered, all of a sudden I thought about her one day, and I thought I hadn't heard anything from her in a while. When is she still singing? And I looked it up, and she had died, 40-something years old. Went to bed with a headache, brain aneurysm, dead. 40-something years old, no clue it was coming. So life is not certain. Don't put off doing things you need to do. Don't put off paying off your debts. Get yourself in a better position in case some tragedy strikes. You're in a decent position to take care of yourself. Ladies especially. You know, and I know there are men who count on their wives' incomes. Guys, don't. My husband never did. We never, even when I worked as a realtor for the years I did, that was only to pay for the things for my son's college that their scholarships didn't pay for. And they got through college. My younger son went back a couple years ago to get his before he got here, to get his master's degree before he left Korea. He actually went back to he went to Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland, because they have he had a one-year master's degree. And he paid for that. He used a lot of his savings, and he financed his own in Ireland. Then went back to South Korea before he even came here. So, independence, forward thinking, planning for every contingency. There's so many reasons to do this. There's so many reasons to prep. There's so many reasons to grow your own food. Bill Gates buying up farmland is reason enough. If you have acreage, hold on to it. If you don't, do your best to get some. Pretty soon there may be deals on the market, but you know what? There may also not be any to be had. You'll be competing with everybody else for that. Even 1 acre that is not restricted against having livestock of some kind. Don't assume because it's in the country, it's not restricted. Oh, there are so many things around here where I live in this second home community that are called upscale cabin developments. Oh, I hate that term. I don't want upscale cabin developments. It's just a word for a subdivision that moved out into a more picturesque location is all it is. They have covenants and they have restrictions and they have homeowners associations and fees. That's what you want to avoid for self-sufficiency. You don't want that. You don't want that. So I know this video is kind of all over the place. It's kind of long, but you know, Heather, when I watched her video the first thing that morning, yesterday morning, and her son had just set up this GoFundMe, and I watched it and I was in tears, and it affected me all day long, and I told everybody I could about this. I said, please mention Heather, please support Heather, because she's given so much to so many people, and she was always someone I wanted to emulate. I wanted to be more positive and instructional, uplifting to people, and I don't. Some days I know I don't. Sometimes I know I fail in that regard. I'm not here to lecture. I just want you to do better for yourself. Don't do it for me. I mean, if you don't do it for yourself, I don't suffer. You do. You know, and you're not my child. You know, I didn't raise you. You're not my child. Now, I may get on my kids' cases because I raised them and they know better than to do some of the things they've done. But, you know, and then when I see frugality taking hold with my sons, I go, okay, they should have known that and they shouldn't have gotten the trouble they did. But you're not my kids. You're not my kids. I'm not your mom. But I've been through a few things as far as finances, and I know what being in debt feels like, and I know what being out of debt feels like, and I know what being out of debt and having not just cash flow, but I know what being out of debt and having savings feels like. And when you're out of debt and you have savings and you have available cash and you have plenty of food supplies and water and chickens producing more eggs and ability to make money from those chickens in whatever way you can, like I sold big bags of shavings, poopy shavings from the barn, and elderberry cuttings. When you've got all that, you feel pretty good about yourself, and you feel pretty good about your position, the position you're in. So, trust me, that's a feeling that you want to have. It is, it really is. And I want you to have that feeling, I really do. So, I'm not trying to lecture, but I'm just trying to give you the benefit of my experience and I've been in both places. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. And I used to, when I was young, I used to want things, you know. My husband wanted to get these wild ideas about building certain things or doing things, and we didn't have the money for that then, and or we'd want some furniture, we want this or we want that, and we would, you know, borrow the money for that, you know, and we don't do that anymore. Now if I want a couch, I can just go buy a couch. Of course I can put it on a credit card, earn a 1.5% cash back, and then when the bill comes in, pay it, no problem. That's the feeling you want to have. And I want that for you. And especially now when this world is so upside down and backwards and inside out. But you hear the chickens because my baby monitor's in here. I have to leave that on because the fox has been around here a lot. And Hector's in the pen, he's not loose. But I want to make sure that if there's trouble, I can go take care of it. But anyway, that's enough rambling. So I hope there was some kind of message in here. And if you haven't heard Heather's message, The Needy Homesteader, the title of the video is the hardest video I'll ever have to make, or I've ever made. Probably the last one she did, because she can't even hold the phone. She has to have somebody set it up for her. She can't hold it with 2 broken arms. No, she can't hold that weight of even a cell phone. So look at the video, and look at the tribute to Matt. He was just a big teddy bear of a guy, great dad, always right in the mix with her, helped her build her. He built a wonderful chicken coop and run for her, and just seems like an all-around great guy. Everybody was fond of him, and Heather certainly was. Love of her life. So if nothing else, just think about her and say a prayer for her. And if you can contribute anything to her GoFundMe, no matter how much is in it, when you lose your breadwinner and you've got all the medical bills, you need every penny. So thanks everybody for listening, and y'all have a great day, and we'll see you soon, okay?